Hetapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer. This is Qesankh Peru with another video for you. In this video, I want to talk about it's my Earth Day, my birthday, but a more important message is strive to be God Neter. Now, I want you to hit the like button on this video. This is your first time to my channel. Welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Also, we have free ebooks for you. You can scroll down below, click on those links, and download the ebooks. If you want to take your spiritual knowledge to the next level, become a Patreon supporter. You can do so for as little as $1, $5, $20 per month. Cancel anytime. You get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, on how to meditate, proper breathing exercise, how to communicate with the ancestors, how to do divination, and self-hypnosis. So become a Patreon supporter. Lastly, share this video with family and friends and get the revolution started. So I'm still here in Miami having some fun. My Earth Day is today, and it's what you would call a birthday. In Kemetic culture, we call it Earth Day. And I'm 26 years old. I'm so happy. I'm just kidding. I'm a little older than that, just a little. But I want to talk to you about a very, very important message so you understand, because I've been on the taking a lot of planes, and my ears get stopped up, so I can't really hear. I'm not really sure if I'm talking too loud. Or, I've been chewing gum trying to get the hearing to get back to normal and to pop open, but whatever. But anyway, so I'm in my hotel and I'm meditating for at least 2 hours a day, right? At least, because I'm traveling, I can't meditate as much as I want. And people always ask me, why do you meditate? Well, I say I meditate because I'm trying to be God. I'm trying to embody the qualities of the Neteru. So you need to understand that is the most important thing in your life. That is the paramount importance. Nothing else should be first before that. And a lot of people, because of the stresses of the way this world is, and because of the ruling elite control this space-time continuum, want you to focus on things of achieving financial wealth, getting the car, the house, the girl of your dreams, the man of your dreams, and those things are good. But when you go before the hall of Ma'ati and your heart is weighed against a feather, one of the things it's going to look for, Tahuti, is that, did you fulfill your destiny, your incarnation objective? And another thing is, did you become attached to things, specifically people, material objects, And I know it may be difficult when you're in a relationship and you're so in love with somebody, but you must understand that these things are all illusions. They're Maya. You can't take them with you. So you see the rappers and the entertainers with their $1 million homes, and the rappers making it rain and flaunting wealth. That's all put there to deflect you from what could possibly happen. And this is the big secret. I want you to understand this. You see, you're put here for a reason, and that is to become the likeness of God, Neteru. That is to become I am. That's who you are, I am. And when you elevate your consciousness and your spirit to that level, a dangerous thing happens. So let me explain. I don't like to get too much into my background, but, I have severe, and I mean severe, depression. And I've been dealing with that for a number of years. I would say for now about 15, 20 years, all right? Also, along with that, I have seasonal affective disorder. And I don't know if you know anything about seasonal affective disorder. That means that when it gets dark outside, my emotions tank. I get very, very depressed. So imagine having depression, seasonal affective disorder. Couple that with, or add on to that, with being an empath, Pisces, empath. I'm feeling the emotions of everybody. And if I'm not around a lot of positive people, then I can get even more depressed. Those things together, that triad, can really, really have a toll on you. And when I discovered those three things, I also had three members of my family pass away right in succession. Very difficult to deal with. Okay, so I got through that. Directly after that, I woke up one morning, I couldn't walk. I was paralyzed and had to be rushed to the hospital. And they found out, they didn't know at first what it was. They said, oh, your legs are going through a seizure or something. And I do all these tests. And then they had to do an operation on my hand to determine what was going on with the legs. So we did the operation on the hand. And eventually, after seeing my doctors, they determined that I needed a major operation. And then I did the operation. I could walk, but side effect was the doctors really said it. I mean, he kind of threw it out there quickly. He didn't prepare me for it. He says, you're going to be in pain the rest of your life. And I was like, wow. And at that point, I was, into like military combat, martial arts and all that. And then he was saying, oh, your career's done in that. That's not going to happen anymore because I don't even want you jogging because it could just affect the surgery. So through all that, I had to go see two therapists after the surgery. One therapist to make sure that you don't commit suicide because individuals who go through that amount of pain, and I wasn't in the amount of pain. The pain was so intense. Some people commit suicide to relieve themselves of the pain. So the therapy I had to be in constant contact with a therapist on a daily basis. And then I went to a physical therapist to make sure I could walk again and do that kind of thing there. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. What I want you to know is what got me through all that was Ma'at. Ma'at is optimistic. You must understand, no matter what's happening, she's okay. And my therapist, she saw I had that kind of attitude where it was like whatever came my way, I was like, it's okay. It's all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. And in fact, when I was in therapy learning how to walk again, I took a trip to study with some gurus. And people were like, wow, you shouldn't be taking a trip and you can barely walk. And, and luckily I had a friend who was a physical therapist. And so he would come with me. And in between breaks of the lectures, we would go in the back room and he would massage my legs. And he was a great guy, a wonderful guy. He would do this often and help me to get some mobility, But I was still a trooper. I was still out there going for it. But I've always kind of had that Ma'at attitude where I understood that this reality is Maya, it's an illusion. And I always try to keep Hedaru, joy within me. Because, you have all of these things, the succession of which you would term as bad things, but Tuti tells us nothing has a quality in and of itself. So I never looked at it as bad. I just let things bounce off my chest. And my therapist, she mistook this as saying, you don't really take anything serious. I go, no, I do take things serious, but I understand that that's the death point. That when you start to internalize things, it emotionally upsets you, and that emotion gets into your muscles and your physical Geb body. And then if you dwell on those, play those out in this type of scenario, then the muscles, it becomes encoded in the muscles and the stress stays there. You become very stressed out. And then there's also the pending psychological effect. So I knew that you have to stay optimistic no matter what and stay joyful. And I did. I always looked for the future. But when I started to understand reality manifestation or law of attraction, that really helped a lot to understand that I could make the future or the world that I wanted it to be. And my belief in Neteh, God, Yahweh, was such that I knew that the ancestors and God had my back. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always perfect and smiling like your Christian pastors or ministers who pretend to be happy and joyful. They only are happy and joyful because they're thinking about how much you're tithing to their ministry and how much money they're making. But you remove all of that and see if they're happy and joyful. And I want you to think about that. If you have nothing, are you still happy and joyful? With nothing. Because your mission here on this planet is to become the likeness of God, to become I am. Is not to become wealthy, financially independent. It's not that you shouldn't strive for the things, of course you should. But the thing is, you have to keep in mind what's important, because when I was studying the priesthood, the king came to me and he said, what do you want more? Do you want to have $20 million or the ability, or magic, which is the ability to get to $20 million? And I said, I want magic. So you can spend 20 million very easily. And you'll see the lottery winners and rappers and entertainers, sports figures will waste that money very quickly. But when you have magic, and magic is a direct result of becoming God, you can manifest that and more. So I became dedicated to being Ma'at, to being Osir, and Osir is within you. And here's the effect that the ruling elite, what they don't want you to know, and how it will profoundly change things. You see, you're sent here, whether you're a star seed born of this earthly existence or what have you. According to the Bible, if two or more agree, so shall it be, and the 100-monkey principle, when you change your energy vibration to raise to a higher consciousness, call it the Christ consciousness, to call it Amen, being at peace, or in nirvana, you radiate a certain frequency, and that frequency is changing things in your reality, and it changes people. Ma tells us that there's an interdependence and interrelationship between all things. Call it the butterfly effect, whatever you want to call it. But when you change, people change around you. And if you reach that tipping point, the 100-monkey, or whatever we need, 1 million people, it then becomes like a virus in the collective consciousness, and it gets downloaded by people. And we all start to change. This is why the ruling elite in their universities, their media propaganda, their corrupt religious institutions don't want you to come into an understanding that your mission here is to become Neter. Because if you start on that path and you become the Christ consciousness, you become Osir, it's going to awaken everybody near and far. See, that's Cartesian logic. That's Western left brain thinking, that you have to go in and do like Jehovah's Witnesses, or proselytize to everybody physically, and have televangelists on TV. You don't need to do that. You can stay in the confines of your home and raise your vibration, and it's going to affect people, profoundly affect. They've already proven this in experiments called the Maharishi effect. Go research that, where they had people pray and meditate on world peace, and they saw a decrease in terrorism and violence in the Middle East. So this effect, which we call the 100-monkey principle, or the Ma'at effect, is real. When you change, the 4D world around you will change. You see, you exist in two levels of so-called reality. You exist in 4D, 3 dimensions of space, one of time, and 5D, the absence of linear time-space, where you are one with all, the singularity. And when you destroy the ego, the person, and getting contact with the self, the I am, you become God. And the ruling elite, they don't want you to become God, to become the likeness of God, to become Neter or Nebetcher, because that will dissolve the ego and connect you with everyone, and connect you with oneness, and you'll feel a profound sense of love for all humanity. And you'll see that crime will decrease, violence will decrease, racial violence will decrease. This oligarchy wants chaos. They're psychic vampires. They feed off it. So they set up all their major institutions to educate you on the ego, to be ego-based. And you need to leave that behind. It needs to be a death of the ego and a rebirth. This is why we have the goddess Sekert. Sekert is introverted. She doesn't care about money, power, political affiliation, how many degrees somebody has. She cares about acquiring spiritual wisdom through the 72 mantras that created the universe and all that there is. So I want you to focus on this day of becoming God. It doesn't mean that you have to be like a Buddhist and abandon all worldly things and attachments. I don't want you to do that, because you need those things. You see, to get to God, you need challenges, you need obstructions. So you're going to get those things coming your way. But how you meet those challenges defines who you are. If you have 3 people in your family die, are you going to get stressed out and upset? Or are you going to be at peace, nirvana? The king and the priestess said, crying doesn't mean you care more, and not crying doesn't mean that you don't care. It's what's inside that's important. You're in a relationship with a Ma'at person. That's a very difficult person to be in a relationship with, because Ma'at can be a very cold person. But just because Ma'at is not affectionate doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Ma'at is the truest sense of love, giving, seeking nothing in return. Ma'at will love you to the day you die. Hedaru says, I love you if you show affection to me. Hedaru says, I love you if you're going to talk sweet things to me. So you got to do some stuff for Ma'at, for Hedaru to love you. But Ma'at, she doesn't need you to do anything for her. She'll give you her last dime. And you could betray her. God, Nater, you can curse God out. You can say all these things to God. God, you betrayed me. You didn't make me rich. You didn't make me a famous actor. You made my business go in the tank. God will still love you. God just asks one thing from you, is that you allow him, her, to express itself through you by you trying to emulate God as much as possible. Trying you becoming, I am God. I am the Te, I am the Bechir. So strive to be that in this fourth dimensional plane. And instead of getting the 20 million, you'll get the ability to manifest that 20 million and more. Do not become attached to these worldly things. They'll lead you in the wrong direction. This whole ecosystem that we call reality has been constructed by very evil and sinister people to steer you off course of what's important. And that's your most prized possession. That is the God within you. You see, your ancestors left you the legacy of the Kemetic spiritual cultivation system. It's not a religion. It is a means and method of transforming the person into God. Follow that tradition. Open the dialogue between you and the ancestors, and you'll find out some very, very profound things. They will impart wisdom and knowledge to you through Tehuti, the wisdom faculty within you. You'll have access to the Akashic records. So I want you to focus on that. That's my Earth Day or birthday message to you. Because everything is not about you, the ego. When you transform, for good or bad, the world transforms. You don't like the world? Change yourself. Peace. This is Qesankh Ma'at Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tuti. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Hedaru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.